Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan here with you at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Another wild game against an inferior opponent. It looked like it could be a trap game, but the Saints pulled it out 31-19. And Jeff, I warned you that this might happen, and it got eerily close to a total disaster. But give the Saints a heck of a lot of credit. They've run into these kind of opponents a lot here throughout this season. And they've yet to lose to a vastly inferior opponent, and the Saints needed everything they could get out of this win, and they got it.
Yeah, it was kind of a grinder game, and you kind of sensed it was going to be that way early on. Saints lost some players to injury, and the Jets have a formidable defense, and they made it tough for the Saints. But you're right, they overcame 3 turnovers, or it could have been a lot worse, and that really allowed the Jets to hang in this game and have a little life. And the Saints are going to have to play better, and I think they will. It was almost like human nature to play down to the level of your opponent. And I think they felt like they could win this game at any minute or at any point in the game. But I expect it to be a totally different environment here and a different environment on the Saints sidelines on Christmas Eve against the Falcons.
Right, the dome wasn't exactly rocking. There were empty seats. Granted, the weather was terrible, and you kind of figured that Jets people would take it easy, and probably fans are gearing themselves up for the Christmas Eve game against the Falcons. But look, if you lose this game, you're in big trouble. Look, Carolina won. They beat Green Bay.
Minnesota won.
And Minnesota won. And so it's something that the Saints, they can't afford a letdown. And I think you could see Sean Payton's reaction after the game. I even tried to get him to say something that was encouraging, that the fact that the Saints won this game, and he did not want to bite. He was discouraged by a lot of the mistakes that happened in this game because he knows better teams will beat them if they play this way.
Yeah, you know, this season's starting to feel to me a lot like 2006, the first Payton-Breeze team that got out of the gate really strong, and then they were kind of treading water towards the end of the year. They made a nice little playoff run, got to the NFC Championship game. That's what this season's starting to feel like. I think there's so many injuries that this team suffered. Their depth's starting to show. The offensive line has been a strength all year, but they're down both their starting guards in this game. The defensive losses, you can see they're just not making as many plays on defense, although Cam Jordan had another big game. They got a nice interception by Craig Robertson, but just not enough pass rush. And when they get against a really top-notch quarterback, I think they're going to have trouble stopping people. That's the big concern.
Yeah, and I know Sean Payton. And you talked to a lot of the players. Even I talked with Cam Jordan, and he wasn't even that thrilled about the win because, or those wins where I'm referring to where, boy, like they should have beat Chicago bigger. They should have beat some of these other teams by a larger margin. But they just know that they haven't played up to par. And if a better team were on the field that day, they would beat them. And I think they know that internally.
Yeah. And I think this team's mentally tough. I like that about them. I really think once they get in the playoffs, they're going to be a tough out for anybody just because of the way they play. I mean, they had to overcome a lot today with the injuries and the turnovers and grinded it out. I mean, let's face it, they just grinded out a workmanlike win. Took care of business, but you're right. They didn't get any help from their NFC rivals. So they're kind of in the exact same spot in the NFC playoff race as they were when they started the day, and that's kind of on the outside looking in at those top 2 seeds, which is what they want. But more importantly, they need to try and win out and win the NFC South division.
Absolutely. But still, the Saints did win 31-19, made it close, but got the late touchdown by Mark Ingram. Big milestone for him, 1,000 yards rushing for the second year in a row. Last time that happened, Deuce McAllister in 2003-2004. Michael Thomas, without him, putting him on his back in that one drive in the fourth quarter, look, the Brandon Coleman turnovers could have crushed this team.
2 of them in a row.
Right.
And look, Brandon Coleman knows he's got to hang on to the ball, but those were drive killers. And then the Breeze interception right before halftime allowed the Jets to kind of get a little momentum there. Those are the things they got to eliminate, but I think they will. I think they're going to play a lot better against the Falcons. They're going to be on their A game. Now, whether that's good enough or not against a good Atlanta team, we'll see. But they'll play a lot better next week than they did tonight.
All right. For Larry Holder, he's Jeff Duncan. Check out all of the coverage of all things Saints at NOLA.com and in our print editions of the Times-Picayune. And don't forget, Duncan Holder, 10 a.m. to noon, Monday through Friday on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. And yes, 10 wins means I will have no more hair. It's gone.
It will all be it'll be a golden dome.
We'll pick it up and put it in the ground and grow a new Larry. I think we'll just do that.
Looking forward to it. Scott Shanley look. I like it.
I know you are. But thanks for joining us.